Um, as you probably know, this is a hymn to Hanuman. And on the very basic level, what it does is describe many of his qualities and many of the events that happen in the Ramayana with Ram and the war against the demons, against Ravana's armies. Ravana represents the ego. He has 10 heads, which represent the 5 senses and the objects. And the ego kidnaps the Shakti because it wants the Shakti. But the funny thing is, in the story, Ravana can't actually, get it on with the Shakti. Because unless the Shakti agrees to it, Ravana's head will explode in 1,000 pieces. And of course, Sita would never agree to getting it on with anybody except Ram. And it's a very subtle story. In fact, Sita, it's not even Sita who's kidnapped. It's a heavenly Apsara, one of the heavenly goddesses, who was cursed by Indra. So she had to take a birth, she had to incarnate on earth. And so she switched out with Sita. It's a really cool story. Most people say, oh, how could Ram treat Sita that way? Give yourself a break. Don't get involved with that. It's not like that at all. In fact, like I said, Sita actually is not kidnapped. She just goes into a subtle form, and this other being is kidnapped. And anyhow, so Ram is wandering around forlorn and brokenhearted. He can't find Sita, has no clue where she might be. And in the forest, he meets this monkey who shows up and introduces himself. And at that point, Hanuman is the ambassador of the king of monkeys. And he greets Rama, and he because of this, an alliance is made between Rama and the monkeys. And all the monkeys go out in search of Sita, and they can't find her. And there's only one place left on the earth where they haven't looked, where they haven't been able to look, and that's the island of Lanka, which is now called Ceylon. And actually now it's called Lanka again. And so finally Hanuman jumps over the ocean and finds Sita, and then comes back and tells Rama where she is, and then there's a big battle, and the demons, the negative forces, are destroyed. All this, there's a macrocosm and there's a microcosm. All this exists within the body, within the human incarnation as well. Hanuman, in Ayurveda, Hanuman is considered the prana in the body. And he's called the son of the wind god. And the wind and prana is the energy in the body. And that energy is supposed to flow through the 84,000 nadis, or channels, in the body. But many of those channels are blocked by our emotional stuff and all kinds of stuff. Maharaji said, chanting the Hanuman Chalisa can change fate, can change karma, can free us of negative karmas. And the way I think about it now, after a lot of years of thinking about it, is that our emotional stuff is stored in a subtle body, in the nadis. And Hanuman, as the prana, can clear out those channels. So, for instance, all our stuff, our programming is pretty much in our subtle body. All our emotional traumas, our likes, our dislikes, a lot of karmas are stored there. And so through invoking the presence of Hanuman, which is prana in the body as well, that emotional stuff is wiped out, is washed away, opened up. And it frees us from a lot of the stuff that we do with no vote, because we have no vote. Our likes and dislikes, our emotional triggers and all that stuff. So, it's a long hymn. It's very difficult to learn it. You don't have to memorize it. You can read it. You can chant it with or without music. It doesn't have to have music. But when you do this practice, you should definitely feel that you are offering each line to Hanuman, to Maharaji, and that almost like a piece of fruit, like an offering. Each line, every word, every line is a way of connecting with that Atma Shakti, with the energy of your own soul. Every line, Maharaji said, every line of Hanuman Chalisa is Maha Mantra, is the name. Maha Mantra means the name. All the names are Maha Mantra, period. And so all this whole practice is the repetition of the name as well. And you know what he said about the name. Through the repetition of the name, everything is accomplished. Yes, that too, that too, that too. Everything is accomplished. So, and there's a direct correlation between how difficult a practice is and how much benefit you get from doing it. Yeah, right? You would figure it would have to be that way. Like the longer mantras, if you do 108 Hare Krishna mantras, that takes a while. If you do 108 Rams, you can do it in about a second and a half. I remember being in India and these sadhus come up, go like, Ram, 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 give me money, Ram, 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 give me money. You know, like that. Doesn't really work. But 108 Gayatri mantras or 108 mantras with a lot of words, that takes. And so it generates more Shakti as well. It generates more movement into your own heart, so to speak. So, do you have the words somewhere? Do you all have the words? Okay. We're not going to sing 11 chalisas because we're not gonna. We'll sing a few, and then we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll sing a few more. Okay? Shri Hanumate Namo. Shri Guru Charan Saroja Raja Jamana Mukuru Sudha Varana Raghubara Bhamala Jasu Odhaya Kupalachari Buddhihin Tanu Janake Sumeram Pavan Kumar Siyaram Balabudhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harahu Kales Bikar Syavara Ramachandra Padje Sharanam Jaya Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar Ekapisa Hun Loka Ujagar Ramaduta Tulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavan Sutanam Mahavira Bikram Bajarangi Kumartinivar Sumati Kesangi Kanchana Varana Viraj Subesa Kanan Kundala Kunshita Kesa Hat Bajur Dvaja Biraje Kande Munja Jane Usaje Shankar Suvan Kesari Nandan Eja Pratapa Mahajagabanda Vidyavan Guni Ati Chatu Ramkaja Karibeko Prabhu Charitva Sunibeko Rasya Rama Lakana Sita Manabasi Sukshma Rupa Dharisya Hindikava Vikata Rupa Dhari Lanka Charava Ima Rupa Dhari Asura Sari Ramachandra Ke Kaja Samvari Laya Sajivana Lakana Jaya Shira Hara Shira Lai Ragupati Kinhi Bahut Barai Tuma Mama Priya Bharatai Samabhai Sahasa Badan Tumaro Jasa Gavan Asakahi Shri Pati Kanta Lagavan Adika Brahma Adi Munisa Narada Sharada Sahita Ahisa Yamakumbera Digapala Jahante Kapiko Bidakahi Sake Kahante Tuma Upakara Sugriva Inkinha Rama Melaya Raja Padadina Tumaro Mantra Vibhishanamana Lankeshwara Bhaya Sabhajagajana Sahasra Jo Jana Paravana Ilyota Madura Palajan Prabhu Mudrika Ile Mukamahi Jaladilange Gaya Charajanai Durga Makaja Jagata Kejete Gam Anugrah Tumarete Rama Duare Tumarakavare Otana Agya Bina Pesar Sukla He Tumari Sharana Tumara Chakakau Kodaran Apana Teja Samaro Ape Ino Loka Hanka TenkamteUtta Pesashana Katana He Ave Mahavir Jabanam Sunam Seroga Hare Sabapira Japata Nirantara Hanumatabira Sankatate Hanuman Churave Anakama Bachana Dhyana Cholave Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja Tinake Kaja Sakala Tumasaja Oramanorata Joko Elave Sove Amita Jivana Palapave Charon Yuga Paratapa Tumara Epara Siddha Jagata Ujjaya Sadhu Santa Ke Tumarakovare Asurane Kandana Rama Dulari Ashta Siddhi no Nidhi Ke Data Savaradina Janki Mata Amara Sayana Tumare Pasa Sadaro Raghupati Ke Dasa Tumare Bhajan Ram Ko Pave Janama Janama Ke Dukha Bisarave Anta Kala Raghuvara Pura Jai Jahan Janama Hare Bhakta Kahai Or Devata Chittana Darai Hanumata Se Sarva Sukha Kare Sankata Kate Mite Sabapira Jo Sumere Hanumata Balabira Jai 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 Hanuman Gosai Kripa Karo Gurudev Kinai Jo Satabar Patta Kada Koi Chutta Hi Bandi Mahasukha Hoy sa hoya siddhi saki gauri sa tulsi das sada hari chera Nath Hridaya Mandir Pavanatanaya Sankata Harana Mangala Murti Rup Siyaram Rama Lakhana Sita Sahita Hridaya Basava Sudha Bhupa Yavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam Mangala Murti Marutanandana Sakala Amangala Mula Nikanda Mangala Murti Marutanandana Sakala Mangala Mula Nikanda Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamana Mukuru Sudhari Varnora Gubara Bimla Jasu Jodaya Kupalachari Buddhihina Tanu Jane Ke Sumiram Pavana Kumar Siyaram Palabuddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi Alahu Kale Sabikar Yavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam Jaya Hanuman Jnana Guna Sagar Jaya Kapisati Loka Ujag Ramaduta Tulita Baladham Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanam Mahavira Bikram Bajarangi Kumatanevara Sumati Ke Sangi Kanchana Varana Viraja Subesa Kanana Kundala Kunshita Kesa At Bajroda Dvaja Biraje Kande Mujajane Usaje Shankara Suvan Kesari Nandan Teja Pratapa Mahajagabanda Vidyavan Guni Ati Chatur Ramakaja Karibeko At Prabhu Charitra Sunibeko Rasya Rama Lakana Sita Manabasi Swarupa Dare Siya Hindikava Vikatarupa Dare Lanka Jarava Yemarupa Dare Asura Sanhari Ramachandra Ke Kacha Samvari Laya Sajivan Lakana Jiyaya Shri Raghuvira Rashira Laya Raghupati Kinhi Bahut Parai Tumma Mama Priya Bharatai Samabhai Sahasavadana Tumaro Jasagan Asakai Shri Pati Kanta Lagan Sanakadika Brahma Dimunisa Narada Sharada Sahita Ahisa Yama Kubera Digapala Jahante Kabiko Bidakai Sake Kahante Tuma Upakara Sugriva Inkina Rama Melaya Raja Padadina Tumaro Mantra Vivishanamana Lankeshwara Bhai Sabha Jagajana Yuga Sahasra Jo Jana Parabhanu Ilyota Himadura Palajan Prabhu Mudrika Ile Mukamai Jaladilangi Gaya Charajanai Durga Makaja Jagata Ke Jete Sugama Anugra Tumarete Rama Duare Tumara Kovare Bhutana Agya Bina Pesare Sab Sukalahe Tumhari Sharana Tumara Chakakahu Kodarana Apana Teja Samaro Ape Ino Logaha Gaten Kampe Utpe Sashana Karta Nahi Ave Mahavir Japanam Suna Ase Roga Hare Shabapira Japata Nirantara Hanumatabira Sankatate Hanuman Churave Manakrama Bachana Dhyana Jolave Taba Pararamata बसवी राजा, इनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोए अमित जीवन पल पावे। चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पास, सदा रहो रघुपति के दास। रे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हर भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्त न डरे, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करे। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीर। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छुट ही बंदी महासुख होय। जोया पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होया सिद्धि साकी गौरीस। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय महावीर। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप सिया राम। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसव सुरभूप। यावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरणम। मंगल मूर्ति मारुत नंदन, सकल अमंगल मूल निकंदन। मंगल मूर्ति मारुत नंदन, सकल अमंगल मूल निकंदन। So, there we were in India, fresh out of New York, and we didn't know what to do. We recognized that there were certainly a lot of cultural stuff that we were just completely unaware of. And more than that, we wanted to get closer to Maharaji. We wanted to feel closer and spend more time with him. And but in the early days, he would see us one day and say, "Okay, come back in a week." A week? You know, and what do we have nothing to do back in Nainital? Walk around, get depressed, smoke some dope, you know, not much to do. But so one day, where's Ramesh? Is he here? No, he's asleep. Oh, you're awake. We came to the temple one day. Every time we came to the temple, they handed us a little booklet, yellow booklet with a picture of a flying monkey on it. I had about 100 of them in my room. And finally, one day, the light went on, and I said, "Hey, what is this?" You'd think, you know. So the guy said, "Well, it's a hymn to Hanuman." Oh. So we decided we would try to learn it, because we knew that if we learned it, we could sing it to Maharaji, and we knew that he secretly wanted to spend more time with the Westerners. But he was having trouble arranging it, so we just thought we'd try to help him. And as it turned out, due to Ram Dass's, I don't quite know how to say this. Let me think about it for a second. Let's be compassionate and say Ram Dass's desire to become enlightened faster than the speed of light. He had arranged for one of our Buddhist meditation teachers to come spend the whole rainy season with us way further up in the mountains in a town called Kosani. And the idea was that 3 or 4 of us or 5 of us, and Ram Dass, we're gonna live in this house together with this guy, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, we were gonna get enlightened. So, what happened was, we got up there, and then we get a letter from our Buddhist meditation teacher saying, sorry, can't make it.
Mother is sick.
Huh?
Mother is sick.
Yeah, his mother was sick, so he couldn't make it. So there we were, 5 hours away from Maharaji for the whole rainy season. And if you think about it, he just transferred us. He just said, out, move. And he moved all the Western, and then all the Westerners that came to the temple, he'd send up, go be with Ram Dass. So Ram Dass had to actually move out of our house and move across the valley, the little valley, into another place where all these other Westerners came, and it was like Ram Dass became the Baba of another little ashram up there. But we were together in this other little house, so we learned the Hindi alphabet. We didn't know it. And then we went through this Chalisa letter by letter and wrote it out. It took about, 3 months, huh? We're still counting, you know. And then this guy we met up there, he taught us this melody. And so we practiced. And then we taught it to a bunch of the other Westerners. And we made, on a Tuesday, then now the rainy season is over and we came back down and we're in Nainital and seeing Maharaji again. We decided that we were going to do the first puja to Maharaji done by Westerners. And when we arranged on Tuesday, which is Hanuman's day, to have 80 pounds of laddus are delivered to the temple with all the plates for the puja, the dishes, and the arti lamp and everything. And we were going to sing Hanuman Chalisa to Maharaji on Tuesday. So, and it was a big secret. Nobody, we didn't tell anybody. And of course, we hadn't memorized the Chalisa yet. We were singing it, but we didn't memorize it. So we get to the temple on Monday, and we're sitting outside waiting for Maharaji to come out. And he bursts through the doors of his room. He sits down. He says, Hanuman Chalisa, sing it now. We went running for our books. What are we doing? What are we going to do? And we were standing in front of him, and we started to sing. And I'll never forget. I got to the 6th verse. What was that? I can't go. Anyway, I made a mistake in pronunciation. And he tried to correct me. And I went. And he went, never mind, just sing. And from that moment on, he never corrected anybody, any Westerner anymore, about pronunciation. So that transformed these crazy Westerners into a troupe of performing monkeys. And whenever the Indian people were giving him a hard time, he'd say, "Meow, come on over here." And then we would all gather around him and we would sing Hanuman Chalisa. And, in India, they have respect for your airspace. They don't step over you. So we would get around Maharaji and they'd be like locked out behind us. And they couldn't even see him. We're standing there singing and they're like going, what's going on here, So he would do that quite often. And so we got to sing it to him many, many, many times. And you see, we understood that the Indians saw him as Hanuman himself. And they had told us many of their experiences when they actually had a vision of Hanuman with Maharaji. For instance, sometimes someone would come to the temple and like because it was on a pilgrimage place. Many times there were like tour buses. Somebody would come to the temple and they'd go to the Hanuman temple and they'd bow, and instead of seeing Hanuman, they would see a guy sitting there with a blanket on. And they would ask somebody in the temple, who's the guy in the temple sitting, who's that? And they said, what are you talking about? And they go back and look, and there's Hanuman instead of, it was Maharaji giving them a shot. So,
Now I can hear the Hanuman Chalisa on Spotify while I'm getting my teeth cleaned in the dentist's office.
Rameshwaras wants you to know that the next time you get your teeth cleaned in the dentist office, you can hear the Hanuman Chalisa on Spotify. So not only will your teeth get pulled out, but you'll lose some bad karmas. So let's see. The funny thing about us learning from the Indian devotees, one of my Guru Bhais told me a story. He said, we saw that the Indian people would come with these very soft apples, and they would cut the apple up in small pieces and offer it to Maharaji. So one day, one of these guys, Balaram Das, decided to do that. He said he came into the room, there were some Indian people there, Indian devotees, and he sat down in front of Maharaji and he cut the apple and he offered it to Maharaji. He said, the look on Maharaji's face was the way you would look if your dog sat up and started talking to you. That's kind of the way he saw us, yeah. So, Hanuman Chalisa it's a hymn, it's an invocation. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. Every piece is creating that form of Hanuman within us. Now, what is Hanuman also? Because it's just some monkey that jumps around out there. Maharaji said, Hanuman, Krishna, and Christ are the same. And you know, there's a book called The Unvarnished New Testament, which is a translation of the New Testament from the original Greek. And in the King James, they talk about Holy Spirit, right? But in the original Greek, it's translated as Holy Breath. Very different. Spirit is out there, somewhere else. Breath is in the body. Breath is here, not somewhere else. It's very different. And once again, breath and prana are linked as well. So Hanuman and Christ are very similar. Direct connections to the One. All right, so we'll sing a couple more. Shri Guru okay, wait, before we do that. The first 4 lines or 8 lines are called Chopai. It's a different meter, and it's an introduction to the Hanuman Chalisa. And it's a very important little piece of the puzzle. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamanu Mukuru Sudari. So that line, it likens the dust from the lotus feet, from the feet of the Guru, as the pollen from a lotus flower. And it says, I take that pollen-like dust from the lotus feet of the Guru to clean the mirror of my heart. This concept of the mirror, of the heart being a mirror, is very interesting. When we look in a mirror and it's covered with dust and dirt, we see a very distorted inaccurate view of what's in the mirror, of our own face, because of the dust on the mirror. So we take the pollen-like dust from the lotus feet of the Guru, which is called Charan Amrit, which is consciousness, bliss, reality, love, real love, to clean the mirror of our hearts. And then we begin to sing the praises of Hanuman and Ram. That's why this practice is a purification practice. It cleans the mirror of the heart. Because we're all of us, each one of us, is seeing our own version of what we think is out there. And as many beings as there are in the world, that's how many versions of the world there are. Everybody sees their own subjective reality, as though because of the dust on the mirror of the heart, the lust, the anger, the greed, the shame, the fear, the selfishness. This is what the dust is. Egoistic stuff. When that's cleared off, cleaned off, you see your true face, you see the soul, which is the same in every single being. That's the one. So we purify, we clean our hearts with these practices. The next line is Buddhihina Tanuja. I know that I don't know shit. That's what it means. I'm ignorant. So I beg you, Hanuman, give me strength, give me intelligence, give me wisdom, and harahu kalesa bikar, remove the impurities in my heart. That's the beginning. That's what this is a propitiation. We are asking for something here. We're asking for help. And then we go ahead and do the Chalisa. So that's the first part. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nichamana Mukuru Sudhana Varano Raghubhara Bimala Jasu Chodhaya Gopalachari Buddhihina Tanu Janake Sumiram Pavana Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohin Haru Kalesa Bikar Syavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam Jaya Hanuman Gyana Guna Saga Jaya Kabisati Loka Ujaga Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama Mahavira Bikram Bajarangi Umati Nevada Sumati Kesan Kanchana Varana Viraja Subesa Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesa Hat Bajrura Dvaja Viraja Kande Munja Jane Usade Shankara Suvana Kesari Nanda Teja Pratapa Mahajagabanda Vidyavan Guni Ati Chaturama Kanja Karibeko Atu Prabhu Charitra Sunibeko Rasya Rama Lakhana Sita Manabasya Sukshma Rupa Darisiya Hindekava Vikata Rupa Dare Lanka Jarava Marupa Dari Rasura Sahari Ramachandra Ke Kaj Samvava Laya Sajivana Lakana Jiyaya Shri Raghuvira Hara Shira Lai Raghupati Kinhi Bohat Barai Tumama Priya Bharatai Samabhai Sasabadan Tumaro Jasagawa Dasakahi Shripati Kanta Laga Sanakatika Brahmadi Munisa Narada Sharada Sahita Ahisa Yamakubera Digapala Jahante Kabhi Kobida Kai Sake Kahante Maupakara Sugriva Inkinha Rama Milaya Raja Padadina Tumaro Mantra Bibhishanaman Keshwara Bhai Sabha Jagajan Yuga Sahasra Jojana Paravan Ilyotai Madhura Palajan Prabhu Mudrika Mele Mukamahi Chala Dilange Gai Achara Janahi Durga Makaja Jagat Ke Chete Sugama Anugra Tumare Te Ram Duare Tumara Kovare Hotana Agya Bina Bezar Sab Sukh Lahe Tumhari Sharana Tumhara Chaka Karum Kodaran Apan Tej Samaro Ape Tino Lokahanka Tinkampe Uttape Sashan Katanahi Ave Mahavira Japanam Sunave Nase Roga Hare Sabapir Japata Nirantara Hanumatabir Katate Hanuman Churave Manakrama Bachana Dhamma Jolave Sabapara Rama Tapasvi Raja Tinake Kaja Sakala Tumasaja Ora Manorat Joko Ilave Sove Amita Jivana Palapave Charon Yuga Pardatapa Parasida Jagata Ujjiyana Sadhu Santa Ke Tumarakovana Basurana Kandana Rama Dulari Ashta Siddhino Nidhi Ke Data Asavaradina Janki Mata Rama Rasayana Tumare Pasa Sadara Ho Raghupati Ke Dasa Tumare Bhajana Rama Ko Pave Janama Janama Ke Dukha Pisara Antakala Raghupara Pura Jai Jahan Jamara Bhakta Kahai Ora Devata Chetana Darai Hanumata Se Sarva Sukha Kare Sankata Kate Mite Sabha Pira Josu Mere Hanumata Balabira Je Hanumana Gosai Karo Guru Deva Kinai Jo Satabara Pata Karakoi Chutahi Bandi Mahasukoi Oya Pare Hanuman Chalisa Oya Siddhi Saki Gaurisa Tulasi Dasa Sada Harichera Kijena Hridaya Mandira Pavanatanaya Sankatarana Mangala Murti Rupsiyara Rama Lakana Sita Sahita Pradeva Sasura Bhupa Syavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam Mangala Murti Martanandana Sakala Mangala Mula Nikandan Mangala Murti Martanandana Sakala Mangala Mula Nikandan Yuguru Charan Sarodaraja Nijamana Mukuru Sudhare Paranora Kupara Bimala Jasu Chodhaya Kupalachari Buddhihina Tanu Janike Sumiram Pavana Kumasiyaram Bala बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरो कलेश विकार सियावर रामचंद्र पद जय शरणम जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बलधाम अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नाम महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुबेस कानन कुंडल कुंचित केस हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साज शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरसिया हिंद काल कट रूप धर लंक जराव भीम रूप धरे असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए वीर रघुवीर हर्षि लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरताय सम भाई सहस बदन तुमरो जस गान अस कई श्रीपति कंठ लगान सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीस नारद शारद सहित अहिस यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहांते कभी को बिद खाए सके कहांते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवाई कीन्हा राम मिलाया राजपद दीन्हा तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण मान लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जान युग सहस्र जो जन परवान लील्योताहि मधुर पल जान प्रभु मुद्रिका मिले मुख माहि जल दिलंगे गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे देते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लाए तुम्हारी शरण तुम्हारा चक काहू को धरण आपन तेज समारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाचन कट नहीं आवे महावीर जप नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीर जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीर संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साज और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोवे अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियार साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पास सदा रहो रघुपति के दास तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हर भक्त कहाय और देवता चित्त न डरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करे संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमेरे हनुमत बलबीर जय 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 हनुमान Gosai, Kripa Karo Gurudev Kinai, Jo Shatabara Pata Karakoi, Chudahi Bandi Mahasukoi, Joya Pare Hanuman Chalisa, Oya Siddhi Saki Gaurisa, Tulasi Dasa Sada Harichera, Yijena Hridaya Mahadev, Balanatanaya Sankataharana, Mangala Murti Rup Siyaram, Rama Lakshmana Sita Sahita, Hridaya Baso Surabhupa, Syavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam, Mangala Murti Marutanandana, Sakala Mangala Mula Nikandan, Mangala Murti Marutanandana, Sakala Amangala Mula Nikandan. That line, there's that phrase that we sing between the Chalisas. Mangala Murti, Marutanandan, Sakala Amangala, Mula Nikandan. I don't know if it's written down anywhere, but it's somewhere. And what it means is Hanuman is the embodiment of everything that's auspicious and good. And the destroyer of the root of all, everything that's inauspicious and bad for us. Mangalamurti, Marutanandan, son of the wind, Sakala Amangala, every single thing that is not helpful for us, that is negative in our lives, anywhere, in our subtle bodies. Sakala Amangala Mula Nikandan, the root destroyer, the root remover of everything that's not helpful for us. What time is it? What does that mean? This is what time it is? It's 4:30? 5:30? What time is it?
10 after 5.
20 after?
10 after 5, but Darcy is going to do her auction thing.
Who is? Oh, okay. So the auction is
Closing
just about to end?
5 minutes.
It ends in 5 minutes. So go spend your money, if you have any. We'll sing it again tonight. Once again, it's a meditation, it's a mantra, it's an invocation, it's a visualization. It's a way of entering into more deeply onto the path and more deeply into your heart. Hanuman is Ramaduta. He's the messenger of Ram. The connection to Ram. It's like in New York, there was the 42nd Street shuttle. You get on the east side, you can't get off until the west side. You get into Hanuman, you can't get off until you're in Ram. Because ultimately, Hanuman and Ram are not different. Actually, in one of the many Ramayanas, Ram asks Hanuman, "How do you see me?" And he says, "When I identify with the body, I serve you. When I identify with the soul, you are the whole and I am a part. But when I know what's really happening, you and I are one." So it's a multi-level thing, but at all times. So one time, Maharaji went to Chitrakoot, which is one of the places where Ram and Sita lived for many years, and Lakshman when they were banished from the kingdom. And there's a place on the top of a place called Hanumandhara, a big mountain in Chitrakoot, which is called Sita Rasoi, Sita's kitchen. And it's there that they lived for a while, and she would cook the food for Ram and Lakshman. And one time Maharaji went up there with Dada Mukherjee. Now, there's a few books about Maharaji, not only Miracle of Love, but Dada wrote 2 books. One is called By His Grace and The Near and the Dear. And they're worth reading. And of course, there's the books that Parvati put together. So Dada went there with Maharaji, and Maharaji was sitting down there at Sita Rasoi where there's a stream, a little coming up out of the mountain. And Maharaji said to Dada, Dada, after Hanumanji burnt Lanka, he came here to cool off by the stream, by the water. And then Dada told me, he said, then Maharaji said, really kind of just talking to himself, he said, but Hanumanji was always at peace. Always at peace. Even while he's killing the demons, serving Ram, doing everything, he's always in the right place. And that's where we are headed ourselves. When we reach the place where we are connected to our own souls, our own Atma, our own true nature, regardless of what happens in the outside world, we will always be at peace because we're connected deeply to the truth. And Hanuman is one of the many ways to connect that way. So, see you later.